I don't have to repeat everything I've said on the other videos because I think you understand what's going on here. So I'm just going to show you a couple of frames and then I'll play it. There we go. This frame right here shows again the evidence of the electromagnetic radiation pulsing that they're doing on the storm. Pretty obvious. And when you zoom in close, you can see how absolutely digitized it is. And everyone's like, how is this possible? Well, such lines like this would come up if you put frequencies of vibration of music on sand. You put the sand on the speaker, you play the music at the different 420 megahertz, and then you get such shapes like this. So this, of course, it would be on a much bigger scale. When I look at the California map, we'll probably see it. This is about frame 11. You'll probably see it within that map. Sometimes, because we're looking so close, you can't see the bigger picture of what they're doing to the entire globe. Let me play this for you, and then I'll show you where they've been, again, ripping apart the outside bands. And you can see this is no longer a solid storm. With the low-level clouds that you see here, it's being really ripped apart. Hurricanes are tight. They're tight, spinning areas. Look at that. Did you see all that? And they're just really trying to heat this thing and generate it and trying to move it or stall it or whatever they're doing. But again, this is not normal behavior to see on a map, and certainly not normal to see for a storm. And you'll see the clouds here as they're being ripped apart, and you see that certainly this storm should be drawing up moisture from the bottom left corner, but it's not, because there's been installed a high pressure system in there. And anyways, the whole thing is definitely manipulated. And we should have, with this storm, if this is truly a hurricane, a real hurricane like the one Mother Nature makes, we would have had surf 2 days ago. Huge surf 2 days ago. And we have nothing. It is completely flat. So let's look at what's happening in California. I always like to look at low clouds or the infrared and or the visible. Both of those can give you a really good indication of what's going on. Interesting. Let me see what happened with that flash there. Let's go back a few frames. I wonder what's going on here. That's interesting. To go from here to here. And I hope Pacific Redwood will watch this video and answer this. Why would it go from this, or even Stacy Sills, maybe one of your guys can tell us, to this? And let's take a look at this closer. What is really going on here? Between these two frames, that's a significant difference of something being pulsed. I imagine just like, oh, here we go. See these lines right there? And that's about the same frame. Usually it's off a little bit, but if you see those lines right there, that right there is a pulse. So we did have a pulse. I had a feeling there was a pulse of the electromagnetic radiation that they send down. So that's evidence of the pulse there, but we couldn't see it with this particular map. And then because it went from here to here so quickly, we saw that right there where it went from this to this, and that's about the same frame 1011 that was on the frame of Hawaii. Definitely shows you they did pulse something. I had a feeling that something was pulsed, and that's what we could see about frame 10 and 11 when we had the one I just showed you. So now let's go to Mimic and see what's going on here. Mimic is a little bit slower to catch up. They're not as instant on the time scale. So let's go. Oh yeah, I can see, if you look here, you can see where that high pressure was installed. So let's take a look. Right there is coming in, and then you'll see the bleep of white right here to put in that high pressure system. I mean, it all makes sense. I know it doesn't make sense, but you know, if Pacific Red One is showing that there's a high pressure system, and he's showing where it hit, and then you see here, is it coincidence that it just happened to be simultaneously in the same spot, location, and somewhat the same time, maybe down to the minute, where you see this white blurb come in? It really makes you question what is happening with our weather. And let me go back here into the Western Pacific. Oh, I'm sorry. Eastern Pacific. We're in the right place. There we go. And let's take a look again. Okay, and we'll see, yep, right there, the high pressure blurb that came in. If I had time and the energy, I could then take Pacific Red One's image and overlay it. But, you know, it's not up to me to prove this to you. Just to pay attention is all you need. You'll see this arc that comes down here, and I think this arc was another attempt to push the storm up. Because look, isn't that interesting? Everyone thinks, well, if it's a fluke, and I tell everyone, if this is a fluke, this little arc at the bottom of the screen, how come when this arc comes in, it then pushes up? You see it just lift up this warm water. If it was a fluke, then none of this would have changed on the map. It would just be more of a layer. And the same thing with these white blurbs that come in. If they were truly digital accidents and just misconnections or whatever you want to call them, then you wouldn't see an immediate change in the weather pattern. And that's what I want everyone to pay attention to, because I thought so too. You look at this, you're like, oh, that's, you don't even catch it. You're like, oh, it's a fluke. Again, the arc comes up and it pushes the warm weather up. The warm water up. It arcs and it pushes up, and then you see this line here shift a bit. So, you know, what can I say? I mean, maybe as long as people keep saying someone like me is crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about, then you will keep believing the hype of the news. But as you pay attention to this more and more, you have to say to yourself, wait a second, why is there an odd 90-degree angle that's kind of coming in here? How come right about here it looks like the warm water gets lifted up by this arc? Why then is this one white blurb here changing the weather pattern and the direction of the storm? You just start to ask the questions, and you're not going to get the right answers, but use your own common sense of observation. Over here, just pay attention to this one. Oh, there's another arc that came up here, and it went up the north, just off the middle area of California to the left. You see that arc right there in the blues and purple area. And then over here, you'll see the white blurb come up just down here by the peninsula of Mexico. And when it hits, then it just shifts over and moves more of this warm water up to move into the area of the lighter, cooler water. And then that arc too, when the arc hits, pay attention here, the arc hits, boom, and then all of a sudden you'll see the shift then of the colder water coming down. It's just very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. I haven't seen a normal weather pattern or jet stream in years. And everyone says, oh, it's due to our climate changes and whatever. No, it's due to the climate changes that have been put into the system. Humans can't do this. If humans were able to do such damage to the earth, we would be done already. It's the humans. Okay, let me rephrase that. Of course humans can do it, but it's not the everyday human like you and me. It's the humans who have the chemicals, who are using the chemicals and the equipment to manipulate our atmosphere. And that's fine. They can do what they want. It's free will. But I just want everyone to realize that this is not normal, and you and me and your brother next door who's a little farmer had no way of manipulating this. This is people who have more money and more power doing this, and you should never take the blame for what they have been doing. This is all caused by their desperate need to control everything, including the weather. Okay? And now that you know that, if we could go back and look at the maps of Hector, and I wish I had recorded them, but I didn't, you would see Hector gave us surf days out. Like, we have no waves at all, completely flat. A little bit of waves at Maui Wharf, nothing major. South swells coming off the coast and down from Mexico have given us better waves than this hurricane, which is right next to us. So, again, use your own observation skills and your own intuition and your own inner knowledge to know what the truth is. Okay, aloha.